let's say that you knew that a jar of jelly beans starts with 282 jelly beans, and then you know that someone came and ate 59 of them. How many jelly beans would be left? Well, you could start with 282 and then subtract 59. And in future videos, we're going to think about many different ways to approach something like this. How do you take 59 away from 282? What is 282 minus 59? But what we're going to do in this video is not think about what the exact number is of 282 minus 59, but instead trying to estimate what this is. And so instead of saying this is equal to something, I'm going to put these squiggly equal signs. And you could say 282 minus 59 is roughly equal to what? Now you might say, well, why is it useful to come up with what it roughly is equal to? Why is estimating it actually useful? Well, if you actually wanted to know exactly what 282 minus 59 is, the estimation is useful because oftentimes you can do it in your head and then you can see whether your answer is reasonable. In other situations, you might not actually care about the exact value of 282 minus 59. You just want to know roughly how many jelly beans there are. The typical way to estimate when you're subtracting large numbers is think about, well, these numbers are close to what other numbers that are easier to subtract in your head. And so we can start with 282. So 282, we could round it to the nearest 10, and what would that be? Well, the nearest 10 to 282 is going to be 280. One way to think about it is we look at the tens place. We're either going to go up to 290 or down to 280, and 282 is closer to 280, so that's why we round it down. And then we could do the same thing with 59. We have 5 tens here, so we're either going to round up to 6 tens, or we're going to round down to just 5 tens and no ones, so either to 50 or 60. And 59 is closer to 60 than it is to 50, so this will round to 50. And so there you have it. This estimate, we could say, is going to be roughly 280 minus 50. Now, why was this useful? Well, some of you might find this a lot easier to do it in your head. In fact, I encourage you to pause the video and see if you can figure out what 280 minus 50 would be in your head. There are several ways to approach it, but one way is to just think about how much we have in each of the places. So for example, we have 0 ones in either case. That was part of the simplification process to get a rough estimate of what these numbers are close to. So we're going to, if we have 0 ones minus, and we take away 0 ones, well, we're still going to have 0 ones. That's looking at the ones place. If we think about how many tens we started with 8 tens, and we're taking away 5 of those tens. So if you start with 8 of something and you take away 5 of those tens, you're left with 3 tens. And then for hundreds, we started with 200 jelly beans and we didn't take away any hundreds. There's no hundreds right over here. And so we're still going to have 2 hundreds. So we can say that 282 minus 59 is roughly 230, which is useful to figuring out if you were to actually compute this, whether you got a reasonable answer, or if you just wanted to estimate, then you're done. You're saying, hey, this is roughly 230 jelly beans left.